He has been a magnificent player for a long time, and he was able somehow to get his game back in order during the summer to bat almost in the way that he used to. But now the pressure's seriously on him, and I gather from what we've been hearing there that the selectors have probably suggested to him that he needs to get a bit of form in the Sheffield Shield games. I mean, here's a player who Mickey Arthur described a few days ago as being jaded and probably needing a rest from the one-day game to get his energy levels back and to get himself in the right mental shape. He's just admitted that he's mentally jaded, and that's why he hasn't been able to perform in one-day cricket. Well, he's going to have to get his act together pretty quickly in Sheffield Shield, because I would have thought he still runs the risk of being dropped from the Test team if he doesn't perform for Tasmania in these Sheffield Shield matches.
What, so even in the wake of those performances against India?
Yeah. Well, you've got to assess someone on their form. And that form against India was outstanding. But that was, from I think a lot of the perspective of most of us who follow the game, that would have been the perfect time for him to say, I'm going out on a high. He runs the risk of going out on a low, let's face it. He's just suffered that in one-day cricket. He could suffer that in Test cricket, but cricket's the only thing he's known for most of his life, so it's no surprise that he's going to keep on going. He loves the challenge, and he expects to be able to face up to that challenge, obviously, again, and come into the side for the West Indies series and continue to make some runs through until next summer. But as I say, I think the selectors have probably suggested to him, well, you need to get yourself into a bit of nick in the Sheffield Shield, because if he is mentally jaded, you would have thought he might just have a little bit of a rest for the next couple of weeks before he goes off to the West Indies.
Yeah, it was an interesting comment from him there, saying, I don't mind trying and failing. So he's determined that he's going to continue on even if he gets knocked back. That's right. Yeah, this could be an unhappy end. I hope not. You want to see great players go out on a high, not on a low. But he runs the risk of that at the moment. And also in terms of the development of the Australian side under Michael Clarke, it is time, I think, to look at a Peter Forrest, Usman Khawaja, someone else in that middle order, because you've also got Michael Hussey, who's 36 years of age. So, you know, the selectors have been delaying a few decisions. They've been saved in recent times because Ponting was able, against a pretty ordinary Indian side at the end of it, to get some outstanding runs. But from here, I think it's going to be a fascinating sideshow to follow as Tasmania try to get into the Shield final in the next couple of weeks, just to see whether in fact Ricky can go into a red ball game again and make some runs and make them in a way that will have the selectors feeling, yep, he's still got it. We still want him in the Test team. And he needs to do that to get through to the West Indies. Did you notice in that media conference a degree of frustration or any frustration with how the selectors had done this? Oh, I think he thought that he would get the opportunity to continue his one-day career, especially as they called him up as a caretaker captain just recently. He didn't handle that very well either, I thought. And that's because he's probably, as he suggested, mentally jaded after an extraordinary performance in the Test series. He's just not there at the moment. So, yeah, I think he's feeling a little bit of frustration because he's been such a permanent force in Australian cricket that he believed that despite this appalling run of low scores, 18 runs in 5 hits, that they'd continue to stick with him. But that hasn't happened, and so it does get you thinking about his Test future. You know, beyond the West Indies, that's for sure, if he gets that far, because we've got South Africa at home next year and then go to India before the Ashes series. And he's not going to, as he's said, get the opportunity to play very much cricket outside a Test match cricket and Sheffield Shield. There's just no opportunity at all. So, you know, there are a few things potentially playing out in the next couple of weeks, and I'm suggesting that at this stage he would have to get some convincing runs in Sheffield Shield cricket for the public and the selectors to believe that he's still worth having in the Australian Test team.